Good evening, midnight movie lovers. Or should I say, Aroo! It's a full moon tonight, so we'll be looking at werewolves throughout cinema history. We'll look at man-to-beast transitions from before the days of CGI, including the first ever lycanthrope film, Wolfblood, from 1925. There have been almost as many werewolf films as there have been vampire flicks, so we'll only be scratching the surface. Not scratching it, ripping it apart, tearing it to shreds, chewing it up and spitting it out. For even a man who is pure of heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright. That goes for us gals too. Watch.
We're going back to Scotland.
Back to Scotland, eh? Well, that's what you think.
You, my darling, are not going anywhere. You see, I don't need you anymore. You've served your purpose. You've sired my baby.
Oh, well, the kiss of the Black Widow.
For you. You see, there's one little thing I forgot to tell you. I am different from the rest of my family.
Oh, that was what I was afraid of.
I can change myself at will.
That was an excerpt from a very curious film, even by our standards. It's called The Rats Are Coming, The Werewolves Are Here. It's just to get us in the mood for some beastly good fun. You may have heard of an American werewolf in London, but what about an American werewolf in the good old USA? Well, our main feature this evening is set in the nerve center of American political life, Washington, D.C. Prepare for some savage mutilation of the opposition in The Werewolf of Washington.
That it could happen in America. That it could happen now. That it could ever happen to me.
Vampire of Birmingham. Oh, sorry.
Jack Whittier is my name. Maybe you remember my byline.
Nope, can't say I do.
I was the youngest member of the Washington Press Corps, its fastest rising star. One of the best and brightest, as we used to say.
And what do we say now?
Before so much blood passed under those pretty Potomac bridges.
Ah, pretty Potomac bridges. Sheer poetry. Get on with it.
I was having an affair with the president's daughter, and I wanted out.
Yeah, buddy. That's a little more like it.
Career. So I had my paper reassign me to our bureau in Budapest.
Yeah, Budapest. Yeah, the famous haven for werewolves. Look, I don't know who Nina Schulman is, but she sounds like a ballet instructor or something. The actor Dean Stockwell is actually not a Z-grade actor at all. Anyone remember Quantum Leap?
And he offered me a job which I couldn't refuse.
Oh, Milton Moses Ginsburg, the famous poet, Messiah poet. I didn't know he also directed movies.
And my life begin.
Boy, it's silver. I found it in a little shop. I didn't think there were such things left.
What's it for?
No, I don't know. He doesn't know, but he's about to find out. You see, on his way to Budapest Airport to fly back to Washington, Dean Stockwell's car breaks down and a wolf starts prowling around, as do a family of travelers. Hairy weirdness is bound to ensue, and it does. You can be rest assured of that. When the wolf shows an unhealthy interest in his Hungarian personal assistant, Stockwell gives it the old 1, 2, 3 with his wolf-headed silver walking cane. This is supposed to be the big struggle and fight scene anyway. After the terrible struggle with the wolf, he checks himself to make sure nothing's missing. Not but sure enough, he's been bitten all right. You know what that means, folks. Next full moon, he's not gonna want vegetarian. Will you look at that? Wolf has turned into a boy before his very eyes, but not before ours because they didn't have room in the special effects budget, nor did they have the technology. Anyway, see, what would be a dead wolf lying there has turned into a dead gypsy boy. Ow!
I'm afraid I must ask you to leave the area at once. I tell you again, no one has been reported missing. No corpse has been found. If you continue to make a nuisance of yourself, I shall have you locked up.
How come you speak English?
I don't. I speak Hunglish. That's not heartburn, folks. As you'll doubtlessly recall, the guy was bitten by the wolf during their struggle. Ah, well, at least we get some classic human-to-werewolf transformation scenes coming up. We like those around here at Midnight Movie Central. Ooh, I love the Hungarian cop's wheels. Is that a Citroën? It looks like the sort of car Monsieur Dupont used to take the family on vacation in those French-language textbooks I never paid any attention to.
That was your son that I killed, wasn't it?
Ne, yes, that was your son.
And you don't even care that I killed him?
Care? Hey, he was 40 years old and still living at home. You did me a favor.
She says you didn't kill him. You released him. He needed to die. He longed to rest.
Yeah, he longed for what?
Because of the communists? Secret police?
No, dude, because of the communist secret police werewolves. They're kind of an elite squad.
Because of the sign of the pentagram.
Oh, the Pentagon is behind all of this.
The pentagram. The mark of the beast. This.
Oh, that's just a bunch of insanity.
Yeah. All of that satanic stuff.
Whoever is bitten by a werewolf and lives becomes a werewolf himself.
Oh, bull. Find out who she's working for.
Find out who she's working for? I love that line. Of course he's thinking the KGB or secret police or something. Conventional forces of darkness. Nothing like what fate has in store for him.
You want to smoke here? Tonight? I just hope your Secret Service man never publishes a book.
Anyway, yes, you guessed it. Dude goes back to Washington, where at first he finds the nightlife a bit dull. Then, one quiet night at home, talking to himself on the telephone, he starts developing the kinds of strange facial tics that you can only really associate with really fine acting. Really, really fine acting. And just when you think you know the back of your own hand, like the back of your own hand, it turns all feral on you. Never mind wolf bites, young man. If you'll spend all your time with your hands in your pockets, you do have to expect some side effects.
Oh, God. Please. Let me go through this.
And here it comes, the cutaway. Dramatic swelling music. Not. Ow! Werewolves of Washington, now with 50% more hair. Wow, what an underbite. Terrifying scenes of an urban fox being unkind to items of domestic furniture in the 1973 schlock horror, The Werewolf of Washington. Look, you can see the shadow of what must be a camera rig following him across the room. That was well planned. I guess all those years at film school didn't go to waste. Sensitive viewers will be relieved to know that no actual lampshades were damaged during the making of this movie. No expensive ones anyway. though the scene does give new meaning to the phrase, chewing the scenery.
Hey, we're going for a walk.
Good idea, let's go.
Oh, no, man, without you. You know, we want to make it. You know what I mean, don't you? Make it?
Yeah, I think we all know what you mean. Make it. I think we know. Good golly. The werewolf has made his way onto the Washington steps. Yeah, I do think we know what you mean by do it. Oh, we know all right, and this definitely wasn't what she had in mind. The werewolf of Washington likes to play rough.
Naturally, before you know it, the werewolf of Washington is making his presence felt all over town, not just at embassy cocktail parties.
Some pretty pictures of Washington, just in case audiences had forgotten where this was set. But I suppose not every shot can all be picture postcard perfect. Yeah, it seems like just an establishing shot of a service station at night. Yep, that's what it seems like. Oh, But just look who's riding in on the roof of that Lincoln. The werewolf of Washington, as always, immaculately dressed. What is he sniffing around up there?
Hello? Hello?
Wait a minute, she can't hear the growling and the prowling across the roof of her car? I'm having a hard time buying this one. Product placement and the meeting. Wait a minute. This was something of a delayed reaction, wouldn't you say? What was she waiting for? A bill to go through Congress? Here he is, the werewolf of Washington, taking direct action, not waiting for legislation. And in the horrifying slow-mo picture, the bite. Ah, the horror.
Oh, Dean Stockwell, running wild in the urban jungle as the werewolf of Washington. But you know actors. Or maybe you don't, in which case, my dears, you've been spared a lot of drama. Anyway, actors are only good as the material they're presented. That's why Dean Stockwell in this movie is so bloody terrific. We'll have the exciting conclusion of The Werewolf of Washington after the break. We'll see the first ever werewolf movie, and also take a look at a 1961 film, The Werewolf in the Girls' Dormitory. Imagine the love bites, darlings. Ow! Don't miss it. Welcome back. Tonight's episode is dedicated to our furry, feral friend and fiend, the werewolf. Invariably, it's been a man-wolf. But why can't it be a woman? Why can't feral be feminine? Answers on a postcard sent to my secret location, please. In The Werewolf of Washington, a reporter with the president's press corps is bitten by a wolf man in Hungary, of all places. Now, between you and me, if you're gonna get bitten, make sure it's there.
No, don't get off here. No, don't get off here. We have to land, sir. Land. Jack, how do you say land? Jack, will you please try to pay some attention over here?
Well, Jack's not feeling his usual self this afternoon. Note the delayed reaction again. I guess politicians are used to seeing jackals and hyenas in the corridors of power. But a werewolf, well, that is something a little unique. Down, boy. Sit. Good spot. Wow, seems Jack is taking his good old sweet time to attack. Yeah, that's a good boy. Politicians, eh? They think they can talk their way out of anything. Note that the president is bitten at this point. Of course, if bitten by a werewolf, the prognosis isn't good. He could either die, go insane, turn into a wolf, or, of course, turn into a werewolf. Now, this werewolf seems to spend a great deal of time just wobbling his head about indiscriminately instead of getting down to serious biting. You'd think after spending so much time around savage beasts like politicians, his killer instincts would be pretty fine-tuned by now. Yeah, this would definitely get a special mention on The Daily Show. Isn't it great how the two of them just sort of do a little dance? Yeah, let's just sort of fight inconclusively for a while, and there doesn't seem to be any Secret Service guys around to watch out for the Prez either. But that's to quibble. After all, how many films do you know where you get to see the President of these United States attacked by a werewolf? None other that we know of here in the Midnight Movies vault. Whoops! Man down! Man down! Anyway, finally someone mans up enough to do something about the werewolf. Shots are fired. But now just watch this. The wolf dude just sort of ran away, and nobody seems to think it might be a good idea to chase after him. Plot holes you could drive a Kenworth truck through. You've just got to love these Midnight Movies. This honey is the wolf dude's main squeeze. She also happens to be the president's daughter. Here she is,
Jack?
setting a nice candlelit dinner for two.
Jack, is that you?
But shouldn't she be serving his in a bowl on the floor? Hasn't she noticed he's not exactly been himself lately? Especially as the last thing Dean Stockwell did on their previous date was to try and warn her about what he was becoming. Why, he even gave her a gun loaded with silver bullets. Which is, you know, romantic in a doomed lover's joint suicide pact kind of way. Anyway, I don't think it's giving the game away to tell you that any minute now, the Werewolf of Washington is going to come bursting in, and he'll have more on his mind than just the pot roast. But you'll have to wait for it. Wait for it? Wait for it? Why are we waiting? Why are we waiting? Oh, why are we waiting? There he is. They called the Werewolf of Washington many things, but no one inside the Beltway ever called him late for dinner. Yeah, Jack, you old dog. Come and get it. Okay, her, it, whatever. That must have been a director's instruction for everybody to wait for it, to delay the reaction to the werewolf. And now comes this spellbinding chase scene where more furniture is destroyed. Oh, great. Because what we really need at this point is another still shot of this dining suite. It's the beautiful puce new table for two dining suite available in any color you like, just as long as it's puce. After a few little mirror tricks, there's that pistol with the silver bullets she never thought she'd have to use. There. You learn something every day. Or should we say, with every midnight movie. Well, she's acting as fast as she can, isn't she? Give it all you got, babe. Finally, here come all the president's men, ready with their bailout plan. Too late to be any actual use, of course. And she's still acting. Wow, that's deep.
That's pretty deep, and so on the pulse. But enough with the pentagrams and the Hungarians. Let's go up to the Canadian woods and way back in time to 1925 to the black and white silent werewolf movie, Wolf Blood.
This is Dick Bannister. That's right, Dick Bannister. And the hero of our tale. With a name as cool as that, what else can he be? Poor old Dick has been savagely beaten up by men from a rival logging company, after which he's given a blood transfer. The catch is, the blood comes from a wolf. Now, Dick doesn't do the full wolf transformation before our eyes, or even off camera. Instead, while with a fever, Bannister believes he's become half man, half beast, and gets up from his sickbed to go running through the woods looking for a pack to sign up with. And of course, he responds to the call of the Phantom Pack. Retronauts and steampunk stand back. This is amazing 90-year-old antique special effects. Now, if you're wondering who the lady in white is running through the forest, yes, that is a lady, well, that was Edith. She's the heiress who just happens to own the Ford Logging Company. She's head over heels in love with Dick Bannister, probably because of his cool-sounding name and his way with a bandsaw. And for his weird and wonderful sense of humor. Poor chap is losing his mind. You can't tell that because of his silent movie kabuki moves. Bannister is determined to jump off a cliff, and Edith is determined to stop him. An early example of an independent production, in case anyone is interested. Wolfblood is a campy, silent movie lumberjack melodrama at its very best.
We certainly hope so for Edith's sake. But like any true midnight movie lover, I love a good cliffhanger, or even a bad one for that matter. As usual, however, the true enemy on this show is the clock. Too many midnight movies to watch, too little time. But let's at least enjoy a couple of clips from one of the strangest werewolf movies ever made. Ladies and gentlemen, the opening scene of the 1961 lost classic Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory.
There was a ghoul in school. The theme song from Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory. Actually, the original title of this film was Lycanthropus, which might make a pretty cool name for a band, but would be more difficult to rhyme in a song, though.
Yes, who are you? What do you want?
I'm Julian Olcott. The director is expecting me.
And so, a new teacher arrives to find the caretaker walks with a limp, looks like Peter Lorre, and keeps a fierce Alsatian dog.
Be gone! Wolf doesn't bother anyone. I'm Walter the caretaker. I'm pleased to meet you.
The studio of the director is in front of that court at left.
Meanwhile, the girl's gym instructor sounds like she has a German accent. All very promising stuff.
3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2.
It's a pleasure for you, too, isn't it, teacher?
Well, talk about laugh. Anywho, the mysterious teacher with a secret past has no sooner settled into the place when the students and staff start being killed by what looks like a savage beast. Talk about a finishing school. They come to a sticky end, all right. Oh, forget it. Anyway, cutting to the chase here, the teacher has arrived in a world where everything he knows is wrong. Well, where nobody can be trusted and practically everyone is a suspect. But it's the school principal, naturally, who's been going on feral rampages during full moons. The doctor here in her lab coat suspects as much. And being a clever sort of gal, the type who actually went to a finishing school to have parts of her completed, she has invented a serum to reverse the lycanthropic effects. Sounds credible to me. The sun that is, not just the spaceship. So I guess we can rely on this film for the same sort of slavish authenticity to scientific fact. Oh, is that a love bite or an actual bite? Difficult to tell. I guess if she wakes up with hair on her palms, we'll have our answer. Anyway, we chose this particular scene because the transformation from werewolf back to school principal is actually kind of impressive in a not very impressive sort of way. Well, no, because even though they clearly didn't have the budget or technology for prosthetics, the transformation scene is actually kind of convincing. Anyone who went to a boarding school might actually find the school principal the more terrifying of the two. Together they have beaten the evil curse. Now they can be together without fear of full moons. Well, except that there's the little matter of all those murdered bodies on campus. But the course of true love never did run smooth, now did it?
Werewolves have been scaring people out of their hides since the times of ancient Greece. That's how long they've been around. Unfortunately, I can't stick around any longer, but I'll see you next week. And until then, remember, a full moon is never far away.